welcome back to Sai SS Academy. This is me Ashwini Nair. Today we are going to discuss about the 10th class Geography Chapter 1 Resources and Development. And today's topic is Development of Resources. Okay, development of resources. Yes, that means resources are vital for the human survival. We know that the resources are, it is vital for the human survival, and it is believed that the resources are free gift of nature. Okay, as all of us are thinking that these resources are the free gift of nature, and as a result, the humans are using it indiscriminately, leading to the following major problems. What are they? Yes, depletion of resources, accumulation of resources, global ecological crisis. Okay, the global ecological crisis such as the global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, land degradation, all these comes under the global ecological crisis. So these are the three things. One is depletion of the resources, second is the accumulation of resources, and the global ecological crisis, such as these things come under if we people are that using indiscriminately the resources. Okay, if it is going like that, what will happen? Yes, of course, in future our planet will be in danger, isn't it? So therefore the resource planning is essential for the sustainable existence. Resource planning is essential for the sustainable existence. Okay, so here comes a question: why is it essential for the resource planning? These are the things you have to write. Got it? Next, our topic is sustainable development. Okay, sustainable development. What is sustainable development? You already learned it, no? Yes, sustainable development. Here, the development without damaging environment, also safe for future. So, what is the sustainable development? Balancing the need. Balancing the need to use resource. Whatever resources are there, that we have to use that resource with balancing, and also we have to conserve them for the future. Okay, that means balancing the need to use the resources and also conserve them future is called the sustainable development. Got it? Yes. Next, we have to discuss about the Rio de Janeiro Summit of 1992. Okay, Rio de Janeiro Summit 1992, Agenda 21 talks about combat environmental damage, poverty, disease through global cooperation. So there was a summit in the Rio de Janeiro 1992. Under that summit, one agenda was passed, Agenda 21 was passed, and this agenda talked about combating the environmental damage, poverty, disease through global cooperation. That these are the some of the remedial steps that used for the resource mobilization. Next, our topic is resource planning. In India, resources are not properly distributed. Okay, the resources are not properly distributed. Okay, we are going to say some examples of some states in India. First, Jharkhand, MP, Chhattisgarh. These three states have rich in minerals and coal deposits. And if we are taking the Arunachal Pradesh, it is rich in water. And Rajasthan, solar and wind energy is there. That means this Jharkhand, MP and Chhattisgarh, these states are rich in the minerals and coal deposits. And when we are taking the Arunachal Pradesh, the state has abundance of water, okay, but lack of infrastructure. Where? Arunachal Pradesh. And if we are taking the Rajasthan has abundance of the solar and wind energy, but lack of water is there. Got it? That means almost all the states in India have not all the things. That means the regions have the sufficient resource, but there are some regions that have the shortage of resources. Okay, that means what the government of India have to do? Yes, the government have to analyze the resources of the whole country. Okay, the government has to analyze the resources of the whole country and distribute it equally to the whole country. If it is that is done like that, if wherever the resources are there, and if wherever the regions that shortage of resources are there, if the country is analyzing all these resources, that means if it is done, if the shortage, wherever the abundant resources are taking from there and giving to the shortage regions, that means the government has to analyze all these things and they have to do like that and distribute it equally to the whole country. If it is doing like that, what will happen? The whole country will develop as the same, or the progress will come equally, isn't it? So have a look on now how the resource planning in India. Next, we are going to discuss about the resource planning in India. Okay, the resource planning is a complex process. Okay, it is a complex process. So it involves the identification and inventory of the resources, evolving a planning structure endowed with appropriate technology skill and institutional setup. And the third one, matching resource development plans with overall national development plans. Okay, here means for a resource planning, what are the things we need? That means it is a complex process. So it involves the identification. First of all, we have to identify and we have to invent the resources. Okay, for identifying and inventing the resources, what are the things we need? We have to survey, we have to map, and we have to measure whether that resource is the quality, how the quality of that resource and how the quantity of that resource. So for the identification and inventory of the resources, it includes surveying, mapping, qualitative and quantitative measurements. Okay. The second one is evolving a planning structure. First of all, we have to find out or we have to identify and then we have to invent all these things. Second, what we have to do, we have to evolve a plan. We have to make what are the things we have to implement for that. First of all, we need the appropriate technology skill for that. Okay, appropriate technology skill we need and we have to institutional setup for implementing that plans. That is the second thing. Okay, evolving the planning structure endowed with appropriate technology skill and the institutional setup. And what is the third one? Matching the resource. Whatever the resources are there, we have to match that resource to the development plans, the other overall national development plans. Match up the resource development plans with overall national development plans. That's the third one. Here comes a question, children. What are the stages of the resource planning? What are the 3 stages of the resource planning in India? There comes a question. You have to write these 3 points. I think you got these 3 points. Okay, next we have to discuss about that means if we look into the historical background of India, the colonial exploitation was only in the resource rich region. When we go back to the history, we can see that when the Britishers ruled in India, what they started, first they started the exploitation in the resource rich region. They start with the plantation agriculture. We already learned in that all the things, isn't it? That means they start with the plantation agriculture and they exploited the resource rich region more when compared to other areas. Okay, when we start with these areas, we have various resource planning that working in India. The most important thing there also, what is the thing that means is identifying these specific resources and creating an inventory for the resources, as we talked here, as we discussed that. Yes, like the same thing happening here also. That means we have to identify and the specific resources and create the inventory for the those resources. Okay, next, evolving a planning structure with good technologies so as to use the resource and making this resource with the development. That also we discussed, isn't it? Next, this is the important thing that there should be a definite development when certain resources are available, isn't it? That it is an important aspect in the resource planning. So what is the important aspect in the resource planning? That means the important thing that there should be definite development when certain resources are available is an important aspect in resource planning. Okay, next our topic is conservation of resources. Okay. First of all, we have to discuss the Gandhiji's concern about the resource. He already said that there is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed. Already the natural resources are there for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed. It's a very good saying, isn't it? Okay. So, listen here. Next, when we consider or comes to the conservation of resources, there are various steps have been taken for this. Okay. In 1968, the Club of Rome advocated resource conservation. Okay, when in 1968 at the international level, the Club of Rome advocated the resource conservation, and in 1974 Schumacher in his book Small is Beautiful, he already again presented the Gandhian philosophy. Okay, he presented the Gandhian philosophy in his book The Small is Beautiful. And next, in the 1987, the Brundtland Commission report. The Brundtland Commission report introduced the concept of a sustainable development and advocate it as the means for the resource conservation. Okay, so what did the Brundtland Commission report said? It said that the sustainable development is the means for the resource conservation. Okay, so these are the some of the important measures done for the conservation of resources. Okay, so this is the topic we covered today. And what are the things we discussed? First, development of resources, sustainable development, resource planning, and the resource planning in India, and the conservation of resources. This is a small topic. I think all of you understand. Okay, and we discussed the two questions also from this topic. First, the question is, why is it essential to have the resource planning? Explain any three reasons. That is the first question we discussed. And next question, what are the three stages of the resource planning in India? I hope children you will study after seeing the video. It's very helpful for to that learn this two question answers also. Another thing I have to say is that stay tuned with my channel, and if not subscribed, please subscribe my channel. Have a good day. Thank you.